Twitter stuff sent out. Get our bot in here. For some reason I can never seem to remember which icon is the Discord icon. No idea why. Let's see, get Discord posted, and we should be good. So, and I guess I should probably walk on screen and preemptively do coding. So, hello everyone, this is Chris Ingerson, and it is May 10th, not April, May 10th, and today is the May 10th Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be working on our combat refactor, and specifically, we are going to be working on setting up equipment so that I can retrieve that and then use it to populate multiple attack types. Well, rather, attack type, the multiple attack type. Ugh, that's such a weird way of saying that. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to show you what it currently looks like for retrieving combat information. We have a scriptable object that is contained on our game manager class, and it has information for things like what hint is shown when it does its combat attacks, what the fade in and fade out for those attacks are, attack durations, min and max cooldowns, all that stuff. It has the actual words that can be shown. It has attack patterns, which are in the current system, they are the things that basically determine how an attack shows up, how it spawns, where it goes, how it moves, all that sort of stuff. And in addition to that, we also get information about where it gets positioned, its item ID, and the prefab for it. So for positioning, things like offset and rotation basically describe where it goes in relation to the spawn position of the item. So our current combat system doesn't really have equip points, but it will need those, and that's going to be fun for us to test. But in the new system, we're not really going to need most of this. We won't need attack fade in, fade out, duration, cooldown, durations. We pretty much only need the attack message, the item ID, equip information, so the prefab, and maybe the hint. I am not sure. Actually, it probably would be good to have the hint. You know what? Actually, probably not. I probably don't need the hint. So we're going to be cutting down the information that we need by about half. I think it's going to strip it down to pretty much just the attack messages, so the strings that are shown on the labels, and then position information. Now, we're not going to edit the existing class because I have stuff coming up soon, so we're going to instead make a new class, and we're just going to populate its information. And this combat info is useful for things other than just equipment information. It also has information on things like what we do to flee, what our messages are there. And again, we would probably get rid of the attack patterns and fade-ins, all that stuff. And actually, you know what? No, we don't even need that anymore because that would probably be handled by timeline now. So, not an issue. Let's go ahead and say probably the same thing for equipment info, or equip info and unequip info. I think those will also just be handled by timeline. So, yeah, the new approach will basically let us get rid of at least, if not over, half of our existing information because it'll be redundant and handled by our timeline. So, we're going to go all the way up here. Let's go ahead and minimize this stuff. Well, thank you, William. Always exciting to have the cheer train visit. So, let's go ahead and get started with a new folder here. And let's see, make sure that I get everything organized. Combat stance check. Let's go ahead and say create folder. We'll call this equipment data, I guess. So we'll say equipment data. All right, we're going to go ahead and create C# script, and I'm going to call this combat equipment data. I think that's probably fine. And then we're going to need a combat equipment data collection, which is going to be the actual scriptable object. Hello, cache override. Beep boop, back to you. Welcome to the Devstream. hopefully we'll be able to pick up pretty quickly. I'm sorry that I'm starting with some basic class creation. It's not going to be quite as exciting as what William usually does. Okay, so we're also going to create another C# script. We're going to call this combat. Oop, and compiled right as I was typing? No. Okay, weird. Data collection. Okay, so this is our scriptable object. It's going to be pretty much just a scriptable object that contains a bunch of combat equipment data. We don't really need anything else from it. Let's go ahead and open this up, assuming that Unity chooses to actually do so. Well, we'll eventually get there. All right. So the goal here is we want to reduce the current amount of information that each weapon has associated with it. We don't really need that in the new combat system. And in addition to that, we are not going to have it be assigned to the game manager. It doesn't really make sense for combat information to be stored on the game manager because it's only used in combat. And I can just as easily have the combat manager handle this. So let's go ahead. We're going to make this a scriptable object. I'm going to hit save there, and then I'm also going to go ahead and open up combat equipment data. All right, so this is going to be a serialized class. So system.serializable. It's not going to be in common. It's going to be in textquest.combat. All right, let's go ahead and just copy that. Move this over to here. Cool, cool, cool. And we're just going to have, do I want to have an array or a list? It's probably fine for it to be, I guess an array is fine. So let's go ahead and say public combat equipment data. We'll just call this, I'll call it equipment data because I'm boring. All right. So that's pretty much all that's going to do for now. We're eventually going to need to get some wrapper functions to do things like retrieve the equipment data that we want, but we're not going to worry about that for now. So to start off, we are going to need to look at what our current stuff has. Let's see, where are you? Here we are. So we're not going to need any of this. We aren't going to need hints. We're just going to need attack messages, which is just an array of messages or strings, and I guess the equipment info. So these things, that should be fine. So let's go ahead, open that up. We're going to say public, I'm not going to have it be that's going to be an array, not a list. String, we'll call this messages, equals to new, string, blah, blah, blah. Let's go ahead and tooltip that, because I like to tooltip my stuff so I don't forget what it does. And these are going to be strings that are shown in combat labels. Okay. In addition to that, we are going to want to have, I guess actually we'll have the ID up at the very top. So we'll say public item ID ID. That seems fine. Item ID dot none. And in addition to that, we are going to want to have, I think, 2 vector 2s, one for rotation data and one for position data. Yep, and the prefab. Okay. And our prefab is a combat item. I think we can keep that as that type. I don't think we're going to need to change that. We are going to need the equip point, though. We're going to say public equip type, I think. Equip point is equal to, oh, not that. Equip point. There we go. And we'll set this to equip point.none. By default, things like your hands are considered equipment, but they're not really actually things that need to be spawned in, obviously. Hello, Scorpio. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? Oh, man. Cache override. And I guess, by extension, most of William Cheer's viewers. I feel terrible. I didn't ask how any of you are doing. Because I'm very rude, apparently. So let's go ahead and tooltip this. And we're going to say, not area, I guess, equip point for, equip point for equipment. Ugh. Wow, that is terrible. We'll just say for item. Okay. And then in addition to that, we are going to want to, there's one more thing. I always forget what this middle one is. The prefab. Duh. So we're going to go ahead and say, we'll have the prefab be after ID. So we'll say public combat item prefab. That's fine. Okay, next we're going to want to say public vector 3 offset is equal to vector 3.0. Let's go ahead and tooltip that. We're going to call this offset position from the equip point. Let's go ahead and just duplicate that. We'll call this rotation, offset rotation from the equip point. And I believe that's all I'm going to need. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. We should be good after that. We are going to probably... No, it's fine. We're going to need a function to return a random message. So random, one of the strings contained in messages. But I don't think I can actually put that function inside of combat equipment data because it's probably going to need to be called from our attack section behavior. Otherwise, I don't really know how it's going to know what messages are already in use. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a create asset menu attribute here. We're just going to say file name is equal to nothing, then menu name is equal to nothing. SOS text quest followed by combat followed by equipment data. Okay, and this is just going to be called combat equipment data. That's probably fine. Okay, we're going to save that, let that compile, and then I'm going to be able to make that asset, and then we'll see what the inspector looks like. Make sure that everything looks nice. Fine, how about you? We'll see. We'll see, as always, how this Devstream goes. We're getting into the weird parts of combat that aren't quite as straightforward. So there's going to be a lot of... I got to be careful not to just rush ahead and kind of have things be duct taped together. I need to kind of move ahead with a plan and make sure that everything's set up nicely so that I can build on top of it for later combat encounters. But hopefully by the end of tonight we will have equipment support in, and once that's in, we might be able to also get multiple attack types finished. Maybe. I'm going to be conservative and say that we might not get to that, but alright, so let's go up here to data. Data. We're just going to put it right here for now. Create, SOS, text quest, combat, and equipment data. We'll just leave that as that for now. So nothing really on here yet, which makes sense because we don't have anything. Alright, so we don't have a prefab, we don't have an equip point or an offset, nothing like that. We can probably have a property drawer to make this look nice. In fact, I kind of want to do that, just because there's no point in us having equipment, or having equip point, offset, and rotation shown if prefab is null. And there's no point in showing offset and rotation if equip point is not set to anything but none. And wait, no, if it's set to, yeah, if it's set to none. Okay, so let's go ahead and for now just copy over the base attack messages that we have already existing in our combat system. So we're gonna need attack, punch, crush, stomp, hit, and kick. Okay. Attack, punch, crush, stomp, hit, and kick. I think that's 6. Crush, stomp, hit, and kick. I feel like I forgot one. Punch. I forgot punch, didn't I? Attack, punch, crush, stomp, hit, and kick. Yep, I did. Okay. I will also actually probably try to restructure these so these are in order. So we're going to have... Oh, that sucks. I basically have to move these up. So let's go ahead and just delete that. 6, and then we're going to change that to stomp. Okay. Makes it much easier when they're in alphabetical order. Because one of the things that we have to keep in mind here for messages is that I cannot have attacks with the same starting letter. If I do that, then the player might start typing a letter that they assume is to a label they're looking at, but is actually for a letter that's for another label, and that can just wreak all kinds of havoc. So can't do anything with with the same attack letter starting. Wow, that was terrible English. Would you believe that it's my first language? All right, let's go ahead, and I think for now we're just gonna stick with the hands one. Actually, no, we might as well make two for now. Let's go ahead and also do. Let's load the scene here. That should let us select from. Really? Okay. Well, I didn't expect that. So I guess I need to add a collection manager with some item IDs here. You're probably not going to give me. Oh, good, you will. Item ID collection. Okay. Let's come over to here. Let's try this again. We're going to try the sword. Sword. Equip point is going to be the hand. Let's check out what our current values are for this because they should be more or less correct. I'm also going to delete an empty folder there because I hate empty folders. And let's see, where did it go? I skipped right over it, didn't I? There we are. Let's get rid of hands, Royal Scepter, and of course I don't have anything. Well, we're just going to cheat and use the Royal Scepter then. Use that. So negative 0.46 in the offset? That seems odd. Okay then. Negative 0.46. I do not think that that's correct, but whatever. 180. And everything else should be good. I probably don't have a combat item set up for the sword either. Well, that's not great. But I bet it's probably next to my scepter. Well, I'd lose that bet. I guess that's probably because I haven't actually set it up yet. Well, that's fine. Then we'll just change this to the scepter for now. Go all the way up here to our combat equipment data. Let's drag in the scepter prefab. Rename this to scepter. Royal Scepter should be good after that. And okay, everything should be good. And we are going to need to know what our attacks were, which I believe were longer in general. Actually, this will be a good way for us to test equipment having longer words than your base fists, but those longer words can do more damage. Or maybe it would just require less of them in a combo to increase your amount of damage that you do. We'll see. I'm still kind of on the fence about how I want to handle that. So let's go ahead and check our attack messages. Hit, batter, strike, club, and thrash. Okay. 5. Batter. Got hit. Ugh. I really should just lock this inspector. Hit, batter, strike, club. I forgot club. Okay. So we want to have batter, club, hit, thrash, and strike. Okay. So let's go ahead now and you know what? I bet if I intend to have it be longer messages but require smaller combos, then I probably need to have that value be somewhere in here. So I probably need to rename this. Let's go ahead, or not rename it, add a field for this. Like just position, rotation, prefab. I guess we'll go here then. So we'll say public int combat combo count. Actually, I guess I'll just call it combo, and we'll set that to be 3 by default, I think. No, 5 probably. And the idea behind this is basically, so for every 5 labels that you type in, for example, that will increase your combo by 1. And the idea here is that you want to have, you want to reward players that can type a bunch of things. And I can't make it a float value, it has to be incremental. So I can't say like as you go from 0 to 5, you'll slowly build up damage. No, it has to be like at 0 you get nothing, and then at 5 you get 1, then at 10 you get 2, basically. Because I can't really the way the health system works, it's kind of based on whole numbers. It just wouldn't really make sense to have like half of a V on there. That would be very confusing. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and tooltip that. Tooltip, and then we will say the amount of combat labels that must be typed to equal +1 combo. Okay. And let's go ahead and tooltip the prefab, because why not? When we have the tooltip attribute, you should probably just keep using it. So we're going to just say prefab for the spawned equipment. Let that compile, and I think we'll be good after that. Oh, you know what I just remembered I could do? One is I need to close this, and then I have to reopen it because of the stupid different line endings, which I hate. Let's also go ahead and unload splash fade. Don't save, don't need to. Open this back up. Okay, so let's go ahead and add attributes to these to just hide them if ID is set to, or not ID, if prefab is set to none. So equip point, we'll say, I think it's just value check is what I want. Oh, right, I need to say using sleepyowl.common. Using sleepyowl.common. And this is going to be value check. That's not right. There should be an actual object reference, I think. Float check. No, that just can't be right. Do I seriously only have float, bool, and int checks? Alright, then I guess that must... Oh, right, it's because it's just a base thing. That's right, never mind. Okay, so this is going to take target that is just going to be called prefab. Alright, let's go ahead and copy this, and we're going to put that in... Oh, crap, I can't do both of those. Well, that's disappointing. But I guess we can go ahead and at least put it in there. So let's just have that there, have that here, and have that here. All right. So those fields should no longer show up if our prefab is set to null. Oh crap! Did I like? Oh no, that's the equip point. Okay, never mind. Oh, and we don't want to do that for our messages, obviously. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. All right, so there we go. Now you can see that we've been able to hide all that without having to use a custom inspector. Hooray! It's not quite as flexible as I would have liked, but what are you going to do? All right, so we should have the base stuff in place for us to test this out. I think my hero character over here already has the spawn points in place. They're just not hooked up. And once Unity compiles, I could show that to you. Well, I guess while we're sitting here, I'm going to take a drink. Good God. It's taking a very long time. There we... Oh, it's because I clicked on a Text Mesh Pro thing. That makes sense. All right, so here are our equip points. I believe our... Yeah, so our hero and troll, neither of them have scripts attached to them yet. So we're probably going to need to come up with a combat character script and then a player combat script, or combat player script, and then a combat enemy script, and a troll enemy, or a troll combat troll on top of that. Wow, lots of stuff. But that level of abstraction helps keep things simple and not really cluttered together. So let's go ahead and come down here to our scripts, create folder. We're going to call this characters. create a C# script. Combat character. I'm willing to bet this already exists. Excuse me. I had to sneeze. Okay. Let's go ahead and close combat equipment data for now. Save that. That's fine. Come on. I believe in you, Unity. Okay, well, while that's still compiling, I guess, I'm going to go ahead and make some functions here. So public combat equipment data. We'll say get equipment data. Equipment data. We'll pass in an item ID, and then we'll just do a for loop. Wow, that was not at all how you type int I is equal to 0. I is less than. Come on, less than. Equipment data dot length I plus, and then at the very end here we're just going to return null, and then before that we'll say if equipment data of I dot ID is equal to ID, return equipment data of I. Nice. Okay, nice and easy. Nothing too complicated there. Go ahead and go to Unity again. Try to get that to load. Open you up, and now we're going to do the fun thing, which is see if I named a class the same thing that as another class. Combat character. Please let me have been wrong. And crap. This is the other one. Well, I guess that's kind of doing what I need anyway, so we probably can just use this then. Don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I will delete this combat character class because we don't really need it. But we will probably want the combat player class. And I will have to make sure that that does not already exist. Okay, so there's not, at the very least, there's not something called combat player. Let's see, find all references where he used. Oh, it's because I called it player combat character. That's fair. Let's see, we have our letters, we have our held item, our head item. Pretty much everything that I already need. Okay, so I might just be able to use my existing classes for this entirely then. I don't have to worry about it. Alright. That works for me. So let's try that. It's always nice when one of my earlier systems can actually be backported, or not backported, forward ported? Just ported, I guess. Alright, so we're going to go over to here, add a component. We're going to call that player combat character. Alright, we have our letters. Let's go ahead and say 4 here for hero. And oh, actually, you know what? I might have to do a different class for this, actually. Thank you for resubscribing, Scorpio. Hopefully it's worth it. Okay. Man, at a certain point, it's not even self-deprecation anymore. It's just self-abuse. So I might have to do a different class because I don't actually want to change the current classes because I need to make a build in the coming week for a convention. But I also think that my attack or my equipment points in the current system are managed by the combat system itself, and I think it makes more sense for the player characters or the player character to have those references. So let's go ahead and strip this out. We'll go back to characters here, create folder player. Go ahead and say create C# script. Call this combat or combat player. now I'm just super paranoid. I think I called it player combat before, so combat player character? That's terrible. But I can't call it player combat character because that's what the old class was. So I guess we'll just call this combat player for now. Okay, let's open this up. Put this in the text quest namespace, dot combat. Have this derived from combat character. All right. So in addition to this, and combat character does not have a reference to our. It does not. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say we're going to need TM Pro up here. So using TM Pro. Then we are going to need to have an array of these things. So we're going to say serialize field, private, text mesh pro. I think I'll just call them labels is equal to new, text mesh pro 0. I know I didn't make it an array, but I'm going to. Haha. Okay. Now, in addition to that, we are going to want to have our item spawn points, which I believe are going to be regular transforms, not rect transforms. So we're going to want to say serialize field, private, transform, head, equip point, serialize field, private, transform, left, equip point, serialize field, private, transform, right, equip point. Okay. And let's go ahead and put some labels on here. Should I move labels to the base class? I can't because it's the old class, so I think it's fine for now. Most enemies don't really need to have their labels referenced directly, so I don't think it makes sense for them to be in the base class. The player needs to have that so that they can update their colors, essentially. So let's go ahead and come down here. We're not going to have a function for now, I guess. Ah, geez, yeah, this is where it gets awkward, isn't it? So combat player ideally would not need to have a reference to combat system. I think we can get around that by just having it require that all of the relevant data be passed to it. So let's go ahead and say public void equip item, and it's going to be combat equipment data. Okay. Public void unequip item. Oof. Yeah, that gets a little more complicated. I don't need to pass in the full data, I don't think. I think it would just make sense for us to unequip specific items. So item ID. Let's just say ID. Okay. And let's go to our existing player class. I'm curious. Now let's go over here. This was player combat character. Okay, so the player did keep track of our held and head items. That's fine. Combat item. So we're storing that. Set held item. Idle. Ugh. I guess that kind of makes sense. Let me think. I don't know if I want to have. So the way the old system was working, it was basically just setting references. It wasn't really doing anything with it. So we're going to, I guess, well, see, yeah, it doesn't really make sense for us to pass in that information, does it? It kind of just makes more sense for us to do this. Because everything else is going to be handled by the timeline or the combat system itself. Retrieving the information is going to be handled by the combat system. The animation for equipping an item would be done through timeline, which means that at the end of the day, all that's really necessary is for it to do this. So I guess I can just use the old player combat character. Ugh. Alright. It's just kind of annoying that I don't know about that. No, there's going to be slight differences. So we're going to go ahead and copy these. Move this into combat player. So the functions will remain the same, even if they're a little different. We are going to keep combat item, both of these, and we will say private combat item, head item, and then private combat item, held item. And we will essentially just do this. But the extra feature that I'm going to add is we're going to parent held item. So we'll say held item dot. I say cast transform. I do not. Really? That is surprising. Wow, that's not at all what I wanted. Peak definition here. Your mono behavior. I'm going to make you an extended mono behavior. Or SOS mono behavior. I forget what I did there. Yeah. Okay. That's perfectly fine. So I will go ahead and come down here. I'm just going to say held item dot transform dot set parent. And here's where it gets fun. We are going to say session.right-handed question mark right equip point else left equip point. All right. Go ahead and grab this. Move. We don't need to do that for the head. We are instead going to do head item dot transform dot set parent, and we'll just say head point. All right. Burning it all down, huh, Scorpio? Alright, I think that's pretty good for what we need it to do. Now we're going to have to actually handle the animations for all of this. It's so interesting that it's so large. I don't quite know why I have so much space around these guys. Well, once it's done compiling, I'll be able to actually shrink this stuff. Come on, there we go. All right. So width here, I think we're going to reduce that to like 0.5. Yeah, how about height of 0.5 as well? 0.6. That seems fine. Let's go ahead and do that for all of this. 5 and 0.6. Cool. I like to try and keep my rect transforms close to what the actual size of the letter is, or letters are. Okay, so that's that. And for our hero, we'll go ahead and add combat player. All right. So let's assign our labels. 4 of those. H, E, R, and O. Followed by our spawn points. Head, right, and left. All right. These guys are... Yes. So, I don't think I need them to actually be sprite renderers anymore. Probably remove those. So that sets up our right. Freaking stupid. Is attacking is our attack parameter. I don't really have an attack animation for him right now, which is fine. Okay. So now we need to hook into the troll. Do we want to have them do something real quick? No, I think we're just going to go ahead and move forward. Well, actually, what does our troll need on it? Well, who knows, because those things are gone. Just out of curiosity. Burp, fart system, burp clips, burp chance. It's probably all fine actually to keep using that. Okay. Let's go to burp particles, fart particles. I don't really care about that because those are sounds. So meh. Let's go ahead and also just turn you on and off. It's attacking. Cool. That's fine. Let's go ahead and save this. So Chris, have you thought any more about different fonts for different characters? I think I'm not going to do that. It would be very frustrating for me to constantly be searching for the best font. And also, I think having a visual consistency is a little bit more important. But there have been a couple of things that I've experimented with, and they've never really looked quite right. Things tend to. The font that I've chosen is fairly easy to read, and other fonts that I would want to use for characters are a little too flowery, for lack of a better term. Like they have way too many curves on them. They make it very difficult to focus on them and read them. So I think it's best if I just stay with the same font across the board. It gives us a better sense of cohesiveness for the aesthetic, and it makes it a lot easier for me to figure everything out. I think that having separate fonts would be cool, but it would just be the amount of effort I would have to go through to make sure that every font looks right and every font is legible would be very, very time consuming for me. So I'm not sure if I could pull it off very well. Anyway, so now that we have our characters set up, we can start hooking them into the combat system. So let's come over here. And we are going to need to have... Oh, you know what? You know what we do need? We need our troll combat character. Actually, we need to have our enemy combat character, which I don't think troll combat character extends, right? Like that's not a thing. Good. Okay, because enemy combat character needs to have the phase information in it. Well, does it though? I guess the timelines control that, don't they? Um, well, maybe never mind. Sorry, I'm kind of like pausing and thinking about how I want to approach this. Let's go ahead and move forward and try to figure out how to retrieve information from our combat system. Let's go ahead and open this up. And let's go to the combat system itself, because it's going to be the thing that we need. We'll go ahead and say serialize field, protected, combat, equipment data, collection, and we'll call this equipment data. Tooltip data about player equipable items. I love that equipable isn't a word, so I can never really figure out what to use there. I guess we'll say data about items player can equip. Okay. Let's let that compile. We should see it pop up here, and then we can assign that. And then we're going to need to figure out how to actually implement it. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Command info is equal to info. We don't actually need that. Yes. I don't think we're currently setting the player, so I guess we should probably have references to... I guess we're going to need references to the player and to the enemy, so let's go ahead and make an enemy combat class. Create folder. Enemies. Create C# script. I'm going to call this combat enemy, I guess. Okay. Open this up. Make sure it's in text quest dot combat namespace. You're going to be under combat enemy. Ta-da! And, oh wait, not combat enemy, combat character. Duh. Okay, now, combat enemy is going to need information on its stances, so we're going to have protected int current phase is equal to 0, protected int current stance is equal to 0, and we are going to also need, what else will we need? It was something that I was looking at in our combat system. Let's see, where are you, combat system? Here we are. We're going to need information on the player, and maybe I was just preemptively doing this. Let's go ahead and reference. Maybe. I think it makes more sense for phase information to be contained in the combat system rather than on the enemy itself. So let's go ahead and serialize field, protected, player, combat player, call that player, followed by serialize field, private, not private, protected, combat, enemy. Okay. And you will only ever have one enemy in a fight. You're never going to have multiple ones because each enemy is themselves a puzzle. So, let's go ahead, take a drink. And what do I want to do next? Interesting. So they have a set color on the player. I'm going to go ahead and save this and go to player combat. Or I guess maybe combat player has this information already. Set head item. Nope. Well, so much for that. Let's check out player combat. Player combat character. So it has a thing called, here we are, set color. I guess we'll go ahead and keep this in here as well. And we're not going to do a for each loop. We're just going to do a for loop. For int I equals 0, I is less than labels.count. Wow. Completely borked that up. Length. Still borked it up. I++. We're just going to say labels of I dot color is equal to color. Or coloro. Color. Okay, get rid of that. Come back here to our, where are you? Combat system. Let's go ahead and comment this to here now. Oop, wrong way. Okay. So now we have player set color. We will turn off refresh equipment for now. And let's see. I think we are pretty good. I don't think we need end attack really. We'll see. Because that might. Yeah. Not sure. We'll leave that alone for now. Okay. So that should now take care of setting our player color. So when we go into combat, the player will now update their color to be your favorite color. We can test that by just changing our color of H here real quick. Or I guess selecting the UI if it wants to do that. And now we have to wait for it to compile. Just not on the ball today. Here we are. There. Okay. We're going to change this. I'm going to copy this real quick. Let's make it like purple. Alright, so by default, the player's favorite color is red, I believe. So when we start playing, the player should just be all red. Oh good, we have a null reference exception. That's always a nice thing. Oh, it's because I didn't assign the player. Duh. Let's see, player. Here. And not going to worry about the troll for now. So let's go ahead and try that again. Okay, we get our message, and it's red. So there we go. Let's go ahead and paste this in, just so I have the same color and I don't go crazy because they look different. Save that. So now we have it setting our colors as we would expect, but we are also going to need to have it populate any inventory items that we have. I'm not going to worry about the inventory stuff for now. I think it's more important that we move on to pulling information in from combat system. So that means we are going to need to do a couple of things. Let's go ahead and look at our timeline for our final attack. All right. So we're going to spawn in, we'll say 10 attacks. Oh, geez. Oh, this just got a lot more complicated, actually. We need to... Okay, for now, we'll just go ahead and grab the information that we need. We're not going to worry about making sure we don't have two of the same attack on screen for now. So we're just going to have a function that retrieves the attack name or attack values from the combat system, and then we'll use that to populate the current attack list. So let's go ahead and open up our attack section behavior. All right. So you can see here that we're currently starting all of our attacks with just test, and we need to change that to a specific function. So that means we're going to need to come up to here, and we need to have a reference to the attack system. No. You know what? This might be a situation where we actually bind the combat system to our attacks here. So let's go over to our... I need to keep both of you open. Combat attack label, I don't need you open right now, I don't think. Okay. Attack section mixer, that's what I want. Actually, no, it's not. I want the attack section track, which is not a thing. Okay. So let's go ahead and open that up. Attack section track. So I'm going to have this with a binding type, and it's going to have a binding type of type, I guess we would want it to be combat system. I think that makes sense. And then we're going to have to do all the fun stuff to figure out how we get our binding here, because I don't remember exactly. I believe we're going to want to say, what is it? Nope. Get. Nope. All right. Well, then I'm going to have to look up how to do that. Hooray. Go ahead and let that compile. Okay. And you know what that means? I'm probably just going to take a look at what Cinemachine does. Assuming it will compile, and let me do so. So the idea here is that I'm going to have a binding type of the combat system, so I can just drag the combat system into this. And that will let me access it on all of my clips. Before I do that, I am going to need to edit the Cinemachine track so I can see how they're handling it. Let's see, Cinemachine brain. Blah, blah, blah. Where do you handle this? Cinemachine mixer, graph, mixer, dot set input count, resolve. Really? Interesting. So you don't do anything with it? Then that must mean the mixer does something with it. Definition. Well, let's find out. Mbrain, where are you set? Player data as game object. Oh, interesting. Oh, jeez. Why do they do it this way? Gross. Okay. Yeah. So I believe we are going to have to do... Wow, that's such an awkward name. Or an awkward way of doing this. So it's done with player data. That's what gets passed. Okay. Fair enough, I guess. So I don't want to do that with process frame. That's for sure. Let's go ahead and go to our, where are you? Mixer. And do you give me that at all? Anywhere I can use this? Nope, you do not. How wonderful. Um, really? Of course you don't. All right. Well, the idea that I'm shooting for here is that I don't want to have a actual field on the attack section clip for combat system because there's only ever going to be one combat system per level. So it doesn't make sense for them all to have a reference when I could just simply have the track have that reference. But that does mean that I'm going to have to come over here. Let's see what override functions I have. Pause, play, playable, create. Wow. Really? You just... It's only available there, huh? That's stupid. Why do they insist on being frustrating like that? So that means that track binding types are worthless unless they're being used across time. That doesn't make sense. Hold on. Oop, wrong thing. Okay, why are you... There we go. I'm going to take a look at the Unity timeline stuff again. I want to see what their internal stuff is doing with things like activation track. Time is an illusion. That's true, after all. Does time exist if no one's around to experience it? I just made a very dramatic face and no one could see that. Need to give my little avatar like eyebrow commands. Okay, so let's see. Input count, playable graph, blah, 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 blah. So track binding type of game object, okay. Now what do you do? Do you do anything? Base.get. Don't you dare. It's an internal function because of course it is. Yeah. Because I can't have nice things. Okay, let me think. On our track. Nope. Base dot. Can't do get child tracks. And there's no such thing as like a binding because of course not. Of course. Time doesn't exist to begin with, Chris. Oh. But what about the concept of space-time? Hmm? Let's see. Where... I really just... It's so frustrating that I can't access the freaking binding type. Ah! Why does it have to do this to me? Well, then I might get bogged down and have to have a reference to it anyway. That would be really, 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 really stupid. But it wouldn't be surprising, I guess. God, that's annoying. Alright, then... No getting around that, huh? Yeah. Fine. So I have to have a reference to the freaking combat system. Boo. Just, I didn't want to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and if we're in the multi-attack area, I guess it would make more sense for us to put it here. Serialized field, private, oh, not void, private, or protected, I guess. Protected, combat system, and of course we're going to have to make that an exposed reference. Exposed reference. Okay. And then let's go ahead and just copy that over to here. Make that public. Make it not an exposed reference because that doesn't make sense. Okay, come down to our defense section clip, and we're going to say behavior dot what is it? It's going to be, jeez. I don't know what's up with me, but I've been forgetting this stuff so easily recently. Maybe I have Alzheimer's. Oh God, it'd be a terrible time to get it. Um, wow, really? I just spaced on it completely. Combat system, duh. Combat system is equal to combat system. Go ahead and copy this. Oh, right. Sorry. Almost forgot. Dot resolve. Graph dot get resolver. Because with timeline, it's never an easy thing. Go ahead and save that and put that over here. Okay. Let's go back here. It's all fake. It's all wibbly wobbly. Timey wimey. Ah! Get that Doctor Who stuff out of here. All the soft sci-fi. It's all fake. Bush did 9/11. Aliens built the pyramids. The Earth is flat. Don't forget the lizard people that run the government. I'm sorry, the government. Singular. Everyone knows that there's only one government. Okay, so the idea here is that combat system is going to have to be referenced so that we can get information about the phase that we're in, and more importantly, about the current equipment that we have. So, geez, that means we're going to have to build in a lot of helper functionality in the combat system. Gross! Okay. So let's go back here to combat system real quick. Assuming I can find it. There we are. I need to look at you. Combat enemy before I forget. Does it make sense for them to actually have their phases? I feel like that can be handled by our combat system. And in fact, it kind of is. Well, I guess we will have... Oh, that's brutal. Go to combat equipment. Peek this. I was doing item ID. Good, 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 good. So we can... I hate having so much information in the base classes. I was hoping I would be able to keep combat systems short, but I think by sheer necessity, it's going to have to be a little bit chunkier than I was hoping. Because it's going to have to retain information about what you have equipped. Well, I guess I could wrap that with the player stuff. Gross. You like hard sci-fi, like Star Wars? Oh yeah, let me tell you, I love when they sat down in the Star Wars movies and actually explained how the lightsaber worked. You know, I love it. It's great. And of course, you know, midichlorians. Let me tell you, doesn't get any harder than midichlorians. In all actuality, I don't really call Star Wars sci-fi. I call it science fantasy, because it's not really science fiction. I mean, it is fiction, obviously, but like they don't even try to explain anything in there, and that's fine. That's not what it's trying to do. But I wouldn't classify it as science fiction just because it has lasers. I don't think that makes it science fiction automatically. And I think, you know, the whole like the Force and all of that makes it fall more in line with it's basically just fantasy but in space. So wrapped in the future, except it was a long, long time ago. Let's go ahead and say we're not going to have an actual variable for this. We're just going to have a wrapper getter, I think. So we're going to say public item ID equipped headgear. That's a really awkward way of saying that. We're going to say get return player dot. Doesn't even have that in player, so I got to go add that now. Let's go ahead and say public combat item head item get return head item and public combat item held item, get return held item. Ah, can't type. Here we are. Let's see. Time wraps itself. That's true, you know, with redshift theory and the galaxy being far, far away. Maybe, you know, it's already happened, but because we're just now seeing it, or maybe it hasn't, we haven't seen it yet, so it's in the future to us, even though it's happened thousands of years ago. Actually, I guess if it's from a different galaxy, that would probably be millions of years at least. Well, is that true? I feel like it is, because I think like Andromeda is our closest neighbor, and it's quite a few light years away. Anyway, let's go ahead. Go back here to our combat system. I'm going to say dot head item. Let's see, return player dot head item is equal to null, question mark. If so, we're going to return item ID dot none. Else we will return player dot head item dot. Please tell me I have ID. Ugh, you've got to be kidding me. It's because it's a combat item. Ah! So... Nope. Pointless then. Okay. So we're not going to do it like this. We are going to have to keep track of it. So we're going to have to do this. Protected item ID head item is equal to item ID dot none. Protected item ID held, not healed, held item is equal to item ID dot none. Okay. Hello, Sky. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? If it's redshifted, does that mean the Empire wins? Not quite. It just means that it's getting farther and farther away, faster than light can keep up with it. Because technically the entire universe is expanding faster than the speed of light, which is why galaxies are starting to redshift, because you can't actually travel faster than the speed of light, so space has to kind of like warp to make it okay for that to happen. It's a real thing. It's actually kind of cool. Although it is sad, because it means like trillions of years from now, our entire universe it's going to slowly shrink to basically just be the Milky Way galaxy, and then it will shrink, you know, further until it's just like the solar system. Of course, by that time, the solar system wouldn't be around, but yeah. Eventually, the universe is going to die in a cold, lifeless, frozen nothingness. Sleep well tonight, children. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just return here head item. Okay. Then public with a space. Come on, work with me here. Public item ID. I guess we'll just change these to held item. Get return held item. Rename this to head item. Item currently equipped on the player's head. Item currently equipped on the, I guess, by the player. Okay. So now that we have that, we can go to our attack section behavior. Come down to here, and we are going to want to say down here a couple of things. One, we're going to need to oof, okay. So string, oh wow, yeah, that's gonna, we got a couple of things that we need to do actually. I suppose the first thing we're going to want to do is come up to here, and we are going to... Do I want to do that? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to have a... not there. Protected string array, and this is just going to be attack messages It's a new string, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go over here to onBehaviorPlay. When this happens, if our type attack is equal to single, we're going to do else. So if it's a multiple attack type, we're going to set our attack messages here. We're going to say attack messages is equal to combat system dot get, not that, crap, it's all sealed away, isn't it? Yes, it is. It worked against me. All right, so I need to have a getter there. Let's go to start combat. I guess we'll put it above that. Go ahead and say public, not virtual. Combat equipment data collection. So combat equipment data, get equipment data, item ID, will return combat equipment, or I guess I called it equipment data, didn't I? Equipment data dot get equipment data based on ID. Okay, and you know what? I'm also going to go ahead and add a shortcut function that's just going to be public combat equipment data get current, we'll say get held item data. It's not going to need an ID. We're just going to return equipment data dot get item, not get instance, get equipment data based on held item. Not that. Come on. Held item. There we are. And we'll also go ahead and say public combat equipment data get head. Head data? That's, ugh. I guess get head item data. Return equipment data dot get equipment data head item. Okay. Gork. Combat system Gork. Indeed, Gork. So these are going to just be shortcut functions for us to quickly get whatever is currently held. I don't know if that means I'll ever actually need to use get equipment data with a specific ID, but we'll leave that in there just in case. And we will also want to, let's see. Let's go over here to our attack section behavior. We're going to say combat system got get, not that, get current, nope. Held item, that's what it was. Dot messages. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we're going to go ahead and go down to here, not on behavior pause, rather on prepare frame. Here we are. We're going to do this. String, actually before I do that, before we spawn anything, we need to say if labels dot count is less than attack messages dot length, then we can do all of this, because if we're already at our maximum amount of possible labels, then we don't want to spawn duplicates. So that's going to get really awkward. That means I think I can get around that just by making sure that my spawning points are pretty well wrapped. So like the duration of the combat labels will make sure that they clear out before this really starts to pile up and become a problem. So many weirdos streaming at the moment. I resent that. How could other people be on the same level as me? Are there just a bunch of developers streaming right now, or just a bunch of strange things going on? Okay, so before we do anything here, we're going to want to say string message is equal to, I guess I could make this a function. Yeah, let's make this a function. So we're going to come down to here. I'm just going to say protected string get random attack message. And we're just going to return attack messages random.range from 0 to attack messages dot length. Okay, pretty straightforward. So we're just going to do this is equal to get random attack message, and then we need to say, while, this is going to be gross. Make this a function, I guess. Protected bool attack message in use string message, and we'll say for int I equals 0, I is less than labels.count I plus plus. We'll return false at the end here. We're just going to say if labels of I dot, please tell me I have, oh good, attack message dot equals message followed by system dot string comparison dot ordinal ignore case, and we will return true. Okay, so we're going to come up here and we're going to say while attack message in use message. Okay. So while that's happening, we basically want to just keep randomizing until we get the one label that's not in use. So we're going to say message is equal to get random attack message. Get random attack message. There we go. So that should prevent us from having duplicates show up. Okay. I think we can test this now, and it should function. I am going to have to, of course, edit this. And that means editing our clip editor. This is why I wanted to avoid doing that. But I can't have nice things. I just can't have nice things. Find all references. And over here. And let's see. We're going to say protected serialized property. System combat system and let's see here, you're going to need to draw that, of course, so we're going to say just duplicate this. Oh, not that, whatever. Well, that worked. Okay, so that should have it show up. All right. So once that compiles, we should see a field for it show up, and we can drag it in. I'm very upset that I couldn't find a better way to do this. It really doesn't make sense for them individually to have a reference to this. What are you going to do? Okay, so everything else. Oh, right. To assign our equipment data, of course. I think we're good there. So we should be able to get to our final attack phase, and it should show us the correct expected messages. So let's see. Let's go into battle. Go left. Where are you? Not again. Don't tell me. There it is. Did you go somewhere unexpected? This multitest should be called when it spawns them. Does that mean that you think label count is incorrect? I guess let's go ahead and yeah, they're clearly not spawning anything, so I'm going to throw in a debug here. Figure out why you're not working. Labels.count is less than blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that should be correct. Okay, let's See what happens. I almost worry that it's like it's not evaluating properly again. God, that would be so annoying. But that doesn't make sense because it should be resetting that stuff whenever we get to. Yeah, it should be reset on play. So. All right, well, let's see if the test case comes out, I guess. We're also going to go ahead and get rid of the spamming that's going on here. I don't think we really need that. Wait, what is going on here? Why? Yeah, I don't need this either. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and compile that. I'm kind of frustrated because I know the bits and pieces that need to happen to get this combat system finished off. It's just, they are not going to be pleasant. The last, we're nearing the last 10%, I think, but the last 10% is the most complicated part, really. Getting things like equipment registration and attack damage taken care of. Those are where things are going to get kind of nasty. And again, I don't want to rush forward into this and just mess everything up for me later on down the line. Aha! Interesting. Wow, what? I don't understand how. I think I know what it is. I think I legitimately know what it is, which is our combat section. Yes, there it is. Got a null reference. Yep, it's because it's returning null. Let's go to definition here, go to definition here, and it is because I had it return that ID only if it was none, or only if it matched. But our problem is, if we look at our inspector here, this is hands, not none. So I probably want that to be none. Is that how I had it before? See, I had it as hands. I think it would probably be fine for me to leave it as none here, because you can't manually specify I want to equip my hands. Hands are just the default, so we'll go ahead and let that be set to none and see if that fixes it. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to metal. Let's try the right. Mostly because it's hilarious to hear the Doppler effects. All right. What did I do? I did something stupid there, didn't I? I didn't actually change it so that it uses the attack message. Oh, look at that. Chris was dumb. Okay, let's fix that real quick. Okay. We also need to figure out why some of my labels are not resetting their background color correctly. I don't know why that's happening. Let's go back here to Unity, drag this out, and I'm gonna go ahead and select my basic attack here. Once Unity compiles, obviously, I can't rush it. Any day now. It'll eventually happen. There we are. Padding, or not padding. Here we are. Background color behavior. Are you just not resetting things the way you should be? Because I don't think you are. Clean up behavior. I mean, it should be, but it doesn't seem to, so... Huh. That's really weird. Is it because you think you're null? That doesn't make sense. You can't be. Yeah, I mean, it's so weird. It's like it just doesn't get cleaned up properly. Or perhaps... No, that doesn't make sense. I'm not really sure why it's not doing what I would expect. All right. Well, we'll take a look at that later then. Because you'll notice that at least one of the labels has a red background, and that is from the hazard choice that shows up. But I don't know why it's still red. It should be black. The only thing I can think of is that it's being set to red when it's disabled, and then it's just getting rejected for some reason. I don't know why that would be the case, but it's possible, I guess. Left. If I could spell. I don't like that snapping. Oh, it's because of that. Okay. Oh, interesting. I tried typing crush and it failed. So that's great. Also, yeah, we need a different sound effect for combo building. Okay. All kinds of frustration here. So, couple of things. We are going to want, under our attack section behavior, we are going to need, I think, 2 more sound IDs. Specifically, we are going to want to have trying to think about how I want to present this. We essentially want, as you're typing combos, we probably want like rising pitch. So it's like, let's assume I have a combo of 5, and imagine that each sound effect I do represents one completed attack. It's just going to be like doot 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 doot, and maybe actually a rise in pitch. So it'd be like doot 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 doot, like that. Because the idea is that we want it to be very obvious when you get a combo. So we want that to have a separate sound effect, and we would also ideally like to have rising pitch. So that would mean that I would have a bass sound that I play, and then I would just want to manually raise its pitch based on your position in the combo, I guess. Plus a flat raise based on the amount of combo that you have. Okay? So we're going to need to do a couple of things. We are going to want... Oof, that's going to be brutal. How about we do... I'm not sure about that. We'll do protected, float, multi attack pitch shift is equal to 0f by default. So what we're going to want to do here is essentially we're going to need to calculate out how much we want the pitch to rise per punch, or per attack, basically. And that's going to be based on the amount it takes to build a combo minus 1. And the minus 1 is because on the final one, we want it to play a special sound effect. That itself will have its pitch altered based on the total number of combos that you have. So that's going to be fun. So we need to... Oh, and you know what? Actually, before I forget anything else, I do want to do this. Combat attack label. I think this might be... No, this is the new one. Okay. So when this is completed, clean up attack, set hazardous, face target, check input, attack complete. Go to definition. I believe this always has base called on it. guess it's just the one. Okay. So when attack complete is called, I actually want to immediately deparent this object. Sorry, I kind of went off randomly on this, but this is something that I've thought about for the last day or so, and I just haven't gotten around to doing this. So I want to say transform.setParent null. Okay. And I believe this is an SOS behavior. Yes, good. Okay. And I'll show you what that effect is in a little bit. But for now, let's go back to my attack section behavior. So we want our multi-attack pitch shift. We're going to need an index of completed attacks. Actually, no, we can just use this. And we are going to want to set the number that it takes for a combo. So we'll say protected int multi-attack combo threshold is equal to 0. Okay, when we come down here, let's just go ahead and grab this. So combat equipment data is equal to this. Oh, and we'll change this to equipment data. Attack messages is equal to equipment data. And let's see, there's a couple more things I need to do here. We're going to say multi-attack combo threshold is going to be equal to equipment data dot combo. And then we'll need to do math calculations. Maybe tonight when you get to a good stopping spot, we can continue streaming and talk about stream and indie popcorn stuff. I'd be fine with that. Probably do that sometime after 9. Actually, that also gives me a chance to let you guys know what my plan is for next week, because next week's streaming schedule is going to be really weird. Well, it's not really going to be weird, it's just that I'm not going to stream on Thursday or Saturday because I'm going to be out of town. But I'll get to that at the end of the stream. So yeah, that's a good idea actually. And I'll let you guys know about some upcoming stuff I have, because I have no. I start talking about it and then I'm just like, I should just talk about it now. So yeah, I'll talk about that when we get to about 9 o'clock, I think. Just remind me so I don't forget. It's entirely possible that I do. Okay, so for now we need to say multi-attack pitch shift. So this is a float value and it needs to be 1F divided by multi-attack combo threshold, I believe, minus 1. Let's go ahead and wrap that in as a float. Oh, actually, you know what? Can I... I'm wondering if I want to... Yeah, okay, I got to prepare for this. So there is the possibility that an item or an equipment piece will have 1 for its combo value, which means that you only have to type one thing for it to count as a combo. This is a very special item that will be a bit of a trade-off for that one thing that you have to type, but because of that, I can't do this, because if I do that, this would come out to 0, and that would be me dividing by 0, and at that point, a black hole would appear in the user's computer, and then I would get sued. So, I am going to have to do this. Multi-attack combo threshold is equal to 1, question mark. If so, it's just going to be equal to 1F. Else, we're going to do this. Okay. So a bit of safety, just to make sure that everything's doing what I would expect. And then, once we do that, we are going to probably, I guess, go ahead and just... No, that's fine. Okay. So let's go to up here. We're going to need to set up our IDs for sounds. Multi-attack area, attack count, attack curve, attack duration. We'll get the sounds in here, so we'll say public int multi-attack sound is equal to 0. Public int multi-attack combo sound is equal to 0. Also, this is sound, not sound. So multi-attack sound, multi-attack combo sound. Let's go over here to our attack section clips. Right about here, serialize field, protected, int, multi-attack sound. Sound is equal to 0. This is going to be a sound ID, and then we're going to need a serialize field, sound ID, protected, int, multi-attack combo sound is equal to 0. All right, and then we will go ahead and go over to our clips, make sure that we properly specify all that. Attack curve, attack duration, behavior dot multi-attack sound is equal to multi-attack sound. Behavior dot multi-attack combo sound is equal to multi-attack combo sound. Okay, let's go ahead and copy both of those. Save this. This is why I really wish I could have done a base constructor, but I don't think I can do that very easily. Oh, you know what? I bet I could probably put this in the... I bet I could. Okay. Yeah. Why don't I try that? I'm going to go ahead and go to attack section clip. Come down here. We're just going to say protected void populate. Or how about initialize? Initialize behavior. And we'll say combat... I'm sorry, attack section. Section behavior. Behavior. And we're just going to move all of this stuff out. Because there's not really anything unique that defense and offense sections have in their inspectors. So I could probably just do like this. I wonder if this will work. Oh, and I need to pass the graph. Which is, I believe, a playable graph. Yes, that is correct, right? Yes, okay. So let's try that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just comment this out. I'm curious to see if it works, and if it does, then hooray, that makes my life a lot easier. Oh, right. Also need this, so give me a second here. Go ahead and put these guys in. Clip, 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 clip. Should all be good, right? Yep, cool. Let's come up here, and we're just going to say initialize behavior. Oh, and graph, right. Okay. Let's copy that. Do the same thing for offense section. Because this would be really nice if I didn't have to constantly come up and type these guys in. So let's see if that works. And I guess while we're in here, we should probably get the sounds working as expected. So let's go down here to prepare frame. It should be when on attack complete is done. Here we are. So we're going to change this. You should be fine. Let's get rid of you. Then we're going to say else. Okay. So we're going to say if completed. Attacks completed. Here we are. Wait, does that not get incremented? Where are you being used? References. Oh. Well, that seems kind of pointless. Why don't I just do that in the base class? That makes more sense. So let's go ahead and do that. And I guess we'll do attacks completed plus plus here. If attacks completed is greater than or equal to multi-combo threshold, then we're going to do something. Otherwise, we're not going to do something. What is your favorite band? So this is an awkward question for me because I didn't really get into music when I was younger. I've only recently started listening to more stuff. I mean, you could always do something safe like the Gorillas. They're really nice. But I haven't really found that one band that just makes me like drop everything and listen to them. I've been listening to a lot more synth stuff recently. So let's see, what's some of the weirder stuff that I've listened to? I was gonna say Dan Harmon, but that's not correct. Uh, Dan something or other. Let me check this real quick. I'm actually not sure what it is. It is. Let me see my library here. Oh yeah, John Carpenter technically counts because he actually recently released an album, and it's just I mean, it's a update of all of his film's main themes, but he composed them all. So let's see. The Gorilla stuff's pretty good. Brendan Small is pretty good. I like his work. He's doing the Galacticon metal albums. He also was the showrunner for Metalocalypse, if you ever saw that. Crap, what is it? It's somewhere around here. If I can find it. Except I apparently can't, which is weird. It means I'm overlooking it. I can't find my own albums. Or navigate my own albums, I guess. Dan Deacon. That's what it was, right? What the heck? Why can't I even see the album? Like, the album is just gone. Yeah, Dan Deacon. I like some of his stuff. Yeah, I am really a terrible person to talk to about bands. I'm not the best when it comes to music comprehension. Not comprehension. I just don't have a lot of knowledge about music, honestly. We're gonna say else. Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to say if attacks completed is greater than or equal to our multi-attack combo threshold. So I probably actually want to increment this. I don't want to. No. I do want to. I have to increment attacks after the fact, which is annoying. So we're gonna go ahead and say 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah. If we are not greater than our multi-attack combo threshold, then jeez, this sucks. Okay. Oh, also I did this backwards. I actually want this to be down here. I think that means that we're just gonna have to do this. Set this. Let's move these guys up to here. Do that, and then we're going to have to increment here. Go down to here, and then we'll set attacks completed is equal to 0. Alright. Planning on going to IU for music ed. Well, it's a very good school for music. The Jacob School of Music is actually a really, really popular school, and it's a very, very well-funded school. I actually wish I had taken more music courses while I was at IU, just to help build my comprehension, I guess. Because it has a really good music department. Just never really made it over there to do stuff. Okay, so if our attacks completed is greater than or equal to our combo threshold, then we want to tank that back down to 0. But we also need to go to multi-attack combo. Oh, I don't have that being tracked right now, so I need to go ahead and do that. Come up to here. Threshold, multi-attack curve index. Nope. Pitch shift. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say protected int multi-attack. We'll just say combo is equal to 0. Let's go ahead and move this to here. Did I spell that right? Yes, okay. Come back down here. Okay, so then we're going to say multi-attack combo plus. Okay, and then we'll do that last, actually. We'll do both of those last. Okay. this and right, so that's why I have to do it. So this one if here is why I have to have attacks completed individually incremented in these if else statements. Otherwise, I would normally put it at the end here, but I can't really get away with that. So we are going to say if multi-attack sound does not equal 0, then this is where it's going to get fun. We're going to want to say soundmanager.play. Jeez. Yeah, I don't think I have a thing for this. Multi-attack sound based on just label dot. Am I doing that anywhere? Yeah, label dot cache transform. Which I might as well just have the speed transform as well. And that's almost correct, except the problem is I don't have a pitch shift that I can manually do there. So instead, I kind of have to awkwardly do this. Manager.get. Oh, find, right. Oh, come on. Oi, give me a second here. What is the function that I have for this? Because it should totally be a thing. Get sound count, get sound count, get sound count, add collection, remove collection. Okay, it's because of that. So I want to say game manager dot get sound manager dot find then multi-attack sound. There we go. Then I can say play sound dot clip followed by, I should be able to give this a pitch. There we are. So we'll give it a volume of 1 and then a pitch. This is where it gets fun. I need to say 1F plus multi-attack pitch shift times attacks completed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and grab that, cast you to a float. Okay, and then we're going to do pretty much the same thing up here, but with our multi-attack combo value. So if you're going to IU for music ed, do you have a specific subject that you want to major in? Are you doing like composition? Are you doing music theory? Are you doing, I guess, instruments? So teaching specific instruments for something like a band teacher. Let's see. So we're going to move this to multi-attack combo. And I think we'll be good. So all of that stuff that I just kind of like mumbled about for a while, sorry about that, should now properly increment our successful attacks, and therefore it should have the pitch rise, then reset to be slightly higher than it originally was, and then just constantly keep doing that, basically. Oh, shoot. No, actually, that's a lie. I need to also add this with that. So I need to say plus this. Okay. That way it will constantly raise as we type. Okay. So that, oh yeah, crap, right. My editor needs to be done again, doesn't it? Okay. This is the problem with custom editors, is that they tend to slow your iteration process down once you get into them. Serialized property, M, multi-attack sound, protected, serialized property, M, multi-attack combo sound, not sound. Let's see, attack curve, attack duration, boop, boop, combo sound. Okay, and then sound. All right, and now for our properties, we need to copy this, and we're going to want to paste this right about here. Get rid of you. And multi-attack sound, and multi-attack combo sound. All right, so now we should be good to actually see this stuff in our inspector, edit it. Once we have that set, I will be able to accurately have our combo pitches increase as we type in our combo, and it should increase each time we complete an actual combo. Probably just banned to be a teacher, maybe theory. About to take my AP exam for theory Monday. Cool. What instruments do you study, or what instrument, I guess? I'm assuming that you have an instrument. Most people tend to have at least one. I say that as if like I'm an accomplished musician, but no, I only ever knew one. I was an alto sax. All right, let's see. Let's go to our final timeline. Come up to here. We're gonna go ahead and load our splash fade. Come back over to here, and we're gonna have our. For now, we're just gonna use success harp 2 and then success harp 3 because that's like it's pretty straightforward, and these are just placeholder stuff anyway. Let's go ahead and unload the scene. Okay, I think we're in a good place, so let's try this. Trumpet. Fair enough. I had a couple of friends in the brass section, specifically trumpet. It was always kind of fun in band. Kind of miss those days. Go ahead and do combat. Go left. This is an attack. Wow. Interesting. There it is. Okay, so I can no longer type after a certain point. And I think that is because these things are not getting cleared properly. So let's grab our label here. Let's go to debug view. Finite duration is hazardous. Interesting. Finite duration is set to false on you. That is incorrect. And our target transform is null, which is also incorrect. Interesting. Let's go ahead and stop playing. So it also wasn't playing a sound effect, if you noticed. Let's. Oh, but on the bright side, we did confirm that I don't need to type this massive block of code anymore. I can just have that be called, so that's great. Let's go over to here. Oh, that would be the reason why it's not getting set up. Go to definition here, because I didn't set that up here. Oh, nope, I lied. I did. Okay, never mind. False alarm. So, great. I need to figure out another reason why it wouldn't start typing. So let's go ahead and go to our attack section behavior. We're going to go to prepare frame. If input.any key down, current attack is equal to null. Are you being set to null? Type is equal to multiple. Label.fade on attack complete. Oh, also, you know what? Find all references. We need to get rid of you. Otherwise, you're going to spawn in multiple, or set multiple attacks completed to be true. Let's get rid of that and that. But the main problem is that we don't seem to be able to start typing. Let's see, prepare frame. So I'm going to just check a bunch of debugs here. Debug.log. input string debug.log. Current is null. And then here we are. If not is attacking. Do I set is attacking equal to false? I do. Okay. Okay, then let's try that. Debug.log. Just going to copy this real quick. And we're going to say not attacking. And finally, I will go to here, and we're going to say debug.log labels of I.attack message. Okay. And finally, we will also go ahead and do here, which is continue. Let's say continue attack. Our head director is retiring this year, so it'll be really hard next year. Yeah, I had that happen to me when I was in high school, actually. My sophomore year, well, so after my freshman year, the band director for like decades retired, and we got a new guy, and it was like night and day the way that they approached things. I liked the new guy, don't get me wrong. He was certainly much more approachable and fun to hang around with, but whew, it was a lot more relaxed and not quite as professional. So we didn't get nearly as much done in the same amount of time as we did the previous year. And it was kind of frustrating for me to see that. It got even worse when I switched schools in my junior year. And good God, the band director at the new school was just, it was insane. There was a time we were at a competition and we literally stopped in the middle of our piece because a companion singer that we were playing with lost her place, and we had to just pick up from a specific spot. And the another saxophonist in my section, we just stopped, we looked at each other, and we just could not believe this was going on. It was insane. Okay, so we're gonna go left this time. This is attack. Interesting. Like, I can't. It fails typing. It seems to pick up some amount of it, but then it just doesn't work. So that's kind of awkward. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and clear this real quick. And I'm also going to take the risky route to show you guys what deparenting the labels does when they're complete. Assuming it does what I expect. I might be completely wrong, but I have a reason for wanting to do it. Okay, so let's go into combat again. We're going to go right this time. What is going on here? Either my keyboard is broken or like I'm just completely borked here. Like it didn't play the sound when I was attacking there. Oh, I might know what's going on here. Maybe. Ugh. Okay. Maybe. This is rather frustrating. Let's see. So we should be putting it as label transform. Maybe it's being scaled down to the extent that for some reason the audio isn't inaudible. That doesn't make sense, but I don't really know why else it wouldn't be doing what I expect. So let's try this again. Clearly, the multiple attack sections are kind of freaking out right now. But that's weird because actually the right one is a single series. Okay, so that's not doing quite what I was hoping. Okay, so I was trying to type there, and it was failing. But for some reason, it was just not letting me type attack. So I'm going to go ahead and stop playing. I'm going to turn off maximize on play. And we're going to play through until we get to there, and I'm going to be ready to pause so I can see what our attack messages are doing. Because that's... I don't know what's going on there. Also, I want to see what happens when we deparent the label, because it seems like it's getting set somewhere weird. I want to figure out where that is. Because it should be... The idea was that it would be left in place. Okay, there we go. So, basic attack D, where are you? You're off in space somewhere, aren't you? Why are you off in space? That doesn't even make sense. How'd you get up here? Okay. I think that means that I want to go to combat label. Here we are. I guess I need to say true. I get the feeling that that is not going to do what I expect, but we'll see. The idea was that when you complete an attack label, I wanted it to stay hovering in the area that you completed it. But it seems like when I deparent it, it just flies off into a random location and rotates randomly, which is just not correct. So that's not the best. I really don't have to want to try, like, I really don't want to have to store its world position and then set it to be that again. That would be really, really, really stupid. Okay, let's also click over here. There it is. So it just flew off again into the ether. It's gone. Gone forever. I'll try not deparenting it then, I guess. But for now, I'm just going to continue. We're also not getting... So you can hear it playing kind of off in the distance. There, there, there. Okay. So I was trying to hit C. But you'll notice that it didn't actually continue to do it. I'm going to try to type kick now real quick. Let's clear this. Okay. I was trying to hit K. And nothing happened. It didn't even register. Okay. So that means that our attack section behavior isn't even getting to here. It means that... Wow. Really? It's not even getting to here. How are you freezing up? I mean, I know I can't be stuck in an infinite loop for the while loop. If that were the case, we would be hitting lag. Interesting. Why then are you doing something I wouldn't expect? Strength and attacks completed. Oh, could it be that? Attacks completed is less than labels dot count. Yes, that might be the problem. Actually, let's go ahead and fix that real quick. So we're going to say and type is equal to attack section multiple, or type is equal to attack section single, and we're going to wrap these guys together. Okay. That makes sense, I think. Let's go ahead and clear that. That is awful. Indeed it is. It's terrible going from a professional environment to a very unprofessional one. Especially when the other people have never experienced a professional environment, so they're just like, this is great. It's always been like this. It's like, no, you have no idea. This is terrible. Things are going so wrong. All right, so let's clear this and let's try again. We always made state except for a few times, and one of those was when the soloist's mic quit at a show and he walked on the field to bring her recorded mic. Oof. Really? So you would think that they wouldn't really penalize you for technical issues, if especially if the equipment isn't necessarily yours. Um, and actually, before I do anything else, I do want to. I think let's go to our combat sounds real quick, which are probably going to be somewhere weird. So let's see. Oh, good. Like first one. Let's see. Success harp. Are you set to 2D? No, you're set to 3D. But it must be playing somewhere strange. So, okay. Let's go ahead and do this real quick as well. I'm going to set you to false. And then we're just going to let it go. Alright, so I think our success sound effect is playing somewhere off in the ether. Which is, I think, why we can sort of hear it, but not really. And I don't really know why that's happening, but it is. Either way, let's go ahead and try this again. I'm going to clear out, hit play. Oh. Huh. Even for a technical problem, huh? But I guess if it's a competition, then you're supposed to have all of that sorted out ahead of time. Let's see, we're going to clear this. We're going to go right. Almost! We're like almost correct. Okay, so it was happening. But seriously, set parent must be resizing them. What is up with you? Okay. Set parent. That's not mine. So, for some reason, I'm willing to bet that set parent null is setting our scale to be 111, and we don't want that with our labels. We need them to be 0.01, 0.01, 0.01. So this is not really a great idea, but I'm going to hard set it for now just because I'm curious. And actually, I don't think that it's facing the player correctly either, which probably means that I want to say transform.followTarget one more time as well. So let's do a couple of things. So we're going to say if target transform.followTarget target, and we are also going to say transform.localScale is equal to new vector3 0.1f 0.1f 0.1f. I would normally not do this. This is obviously a very hard-coded solution, but I want to see if it works. I really don't like that deparenting a rect transform from a rotated parent both scales the rect transform and sets its rotation to be something weird. That's really strange to me. I don't know why it does that. Also, I think we can get rid of these. Let's see. Debug, debug, debug. Let's go to here, 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 and let's go ahead and get rid of you as well. Okay. Let's see what that does. I would like to have gotten this stuff working as expected, and it kind of seems like it is, but it's really annoying because it seems like the transform position for the attack is not playing the sound clip where I would expect, and I don't know what to do about that. That's really weird to me. Because it sounds like it's coming from behind me. And that's really weird. And maybe that has something to do with it being deparented, now that I think about it. Hopefully this scaling and offset stuff will fix it. Okay. Wow. Just come on. Come on. I mean, seriously? You are not scaled to 1.01. You're just not. Also, seriously, how am I clicking on the cursor over UI? You lie! UI, you lie to me. Oh, it's because I did 0.01 or 0.1, not 0.01. But also, it's still wrong. It's not even close to the right place. Are you serious? So you're going to make me do this, then. This is so dumb. Okay, so we're going to try this. Vector 3, cached pose is equal to transform dot position. Transform dot position is equal to cached pose. I don't like having to do this. This is really stupid. How many games in the Nintendo DS library have M ratings? I know at least of one. Presumably there's 3-ish, at least. Well, the only one I can really think of right now is... Oh, wait, no. I think they also had Resident Evil, didn't they? So that's at least 2. Crap, what's the other one? It's like a Jacob's Ladder type deal. Where you take on the role of a guy trying to escape an insane asylum, I want to say. But I do not have that off the top of my head. Let's go ahead and maximize on play, I guess. So how many M-rated games does the DS have? Wow, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to go to battle. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, well that's good. So going to the item screen and back is impossible right now. It just doesn't work. I guess that makes sense. It's probably because I didn't really think to set that correctly. Let's try this again. Let's go to battle. Go right. I'm gonna try to get this right. There it is. So I have to do that. Okay. So that's the effect I was going for. Their random rotation is, again, quite infuriating, and I'm assuming that's because of the stupid way that Unity handles rect transforms being deparented, so that's infuriating. $11, huh? Yeah, I can only think of the 2. I'm trying to think what else there was. I feel like Revelations 1 was the only one that was on there. That was Resident Evil related. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 3 was on there too, wasn't it? Right. That was probably rated M, so at least 3. Man, now I'm trying to think of all the ones that were on there. I feel like maybe any Castlevania game that was released probably would have been M rating as well. No, they probably would have been T, right? That's not what I wanted. Let's go ahead and go back up to here, get rid of you. Okay. And all attacks complete. We can get rid of that, I think. Completed attacks is equal to, or greater than or equal to attack count. Attack section mixer on attack. Okay, yeah, we know that works. Fail. We know that works as well. this. And get rid of you. And we should be good. So let's go ahead and let that go. And that might be a decent place to stop. We still don't quite have the core combat loop working, but we do have it pulling in information about the attack messages that it needs to show per equipment, or per piece of equipment that you have or don't have. We also have multi-attacks playing a sound that indicates that you are building to a combo. I don't think it quite held the way I was expecting. It seems like it didn't really pitch shift very much between attacks. I guess if I try to really type them in fast, we'll see what they do. So let's give that a shot real quick. Actually, I'm going to raise the attack count here. And actually, you know what? I'm just gonna make this a very, very long combo. So let's make this like a 15-second long combo. I'll have this be 15, 16 minus 1, so 59. Let's go ahead and stretch this all the way. And we'll have this, of course, look at the target clip, look at the target clip. Okay. And we're going to change this to, instead of 10, 30. That seems fair. Oh god, it's so much that the inspector for this gets a little wobbly. That's pretty funny. Okay, so let's try that again. So we're going to try playing through this scene. When we get to that combo section, I should be able to at least get a combo of like 3, I feel. Well, maybe 2. My typing speed isn't the best. Okay, let's go ahead and do battle. Okay, so I think it was raising just very, very subtly. And good God, clearly the increments that I was going in were not good for that sound because they were sounding a bit flat. And you never want to have flat be the response that players get from something. Flat is usually indicative of something bad. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful that it does not just raise that number by an awkward amount. Okay, well, it works. And it does let us build combos pretty effectively. I do need to still show the combo being built, like the amount that you have, but that's not too bad. So let's nuke that back down to 10. Let's take our timeline back. Let's go ahead and set you at... I feel like you were at 8. Go ahead and shrink you down to 9. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. Because we have multiple attacks spawning in with their correct equipment messages. We have multiple attacks playing sound effects. We have them also deparenting themselves. I have no idea why their rotation is being mangled. It's probably something really, really frustrating to do with how Unity handles its rec transforms. That it does that, but what are you going to do? And actually, you know what? I bet I could just store this. I want to try that real quick. So we're going to go ahead and cache our rotation as well. So we'll say quaternion cached is equal to transform dot rotation, and then we'll just set this to be equal to transform dot set. What is it? Position and rotation. That'll be cached pose. Cached rot. Let's get rid of this. See if that works. I'm curious. So, announcements and convention stuffs and all that. Next week, I am going to be going up to Anime Central in Roslyn? Not Roslyn. I think it's Roslyn. Something. It's near Chicago. I want to say it's Roslyn, but I don't think it's actually Roslyn. Rosemont, not Roslyn. So I'm going to be going up there. That's going to be it's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I am going up on Thursday night so that I can get set up. So I will not be doing a stream next Thursday, nor will I be doing one next Saturday, as I will be away from the computer, obviously. I will, of course, try to keep active on the Discord and respond to any questions that people have. Try to keep people updated on my progress, how things are going. Hopefully, people will be very excited. Okay, let's give this a shot real quick. As far as the next event after that is going to be PopCon. And that's going to be June 8th, I believe. So June 8th, 9th, and 10th, which are, again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Most likely, so that's about 2 weeks, I believe, or 3 weeks, maybe, after Anime Central. So for the week leading up to that, similar to what next week is kind of going to be, I'm probably going to be a little bit off kilter in terms of streaming because I'm going to be, making sure that the build works and making sure that everything feels nice. And I will again have a booth at PopCon. That looks a lot better. I don't like that it snaps. Okay, I need to have the attacks fade out way faster because it's really confusing when they're still on screen but able to be typed. So let's go ahead and change our attack fade out duration to be like 0.1 even. And maybe make fade in duration be 0.25 so they show up way faster. And yeah, as far as PopCon goes, I'm still a little up in the air about what I'm going to have in terms of swag there. I'm still kind of deciding. But also, I'm going to try to get this combat system into the Anime Central build. I don't think that's going to happen, admittedly. It's way too close. And given the complexities that I have, I would not be comfortable doing that. But I will definitely be sure to try and get it into the PopCon build, because I would like to have the PopCon crowd test it for me. Okay, yeah. Cool. And also, before I forget, because I was noticing this very subtly, we're going to go to our combat tech section behavior. And when we play a combat sound, I need to make sure... When we play a sound effect from completing a message, we need to be sure that we deparent the sound. So I should have an option for transform dot position. I think that will work. Yes. Okay. So we're just going to change these to dot positions. And that's so that it doesn't get destroyed when the label is recycled. And that's what's currently happening. If you noticed, it was the attacks, the sound effects kind of get cut off at the end. And that's because the label that's their parent is being deactivated, which stops any audio source beneath it. So this should no longer parent the audio source to the label. Instead, it should just position it to the label, and then it will clean itself up once it's done. So now if we play through and do the dodge stuff, it should be a little bit more, or a little bit less harsh on the ears, because it won't suddenly cut the sound off. So yeah, so those are the upcoming events that I have within the next month or so. And Scorpio, you said you wanted to talk about the stream. Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about? Go to battle again. Nice. I don't think I was playing the right sound there, actually, now that I think about it. Yes, I was not. This should be our multi-attack combo sound. That explains that. I was wondering why it didn't really seem like it was already pitch shifted up. Let's try that again. That might actually make a decent chunk of difference. Um, hmm. Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Turn off preview. Again, I don't really know why we're getting such harsh snapping in place. So pay attention to the camera cutting when I complete the second phase. It seems to snap into position, which is unexpected. It should be a smoother transition, but that doesn't seem to be the case, which is kind of frustrating. I just know we have mentioned new extensions and other things to make it more fun. Oh yeah, absolutely. If anyone has any ideas for extensions that they would like me to mess around with on Twitch to try and make the stream more interactive, or at the very least more interesting for you. Speaking of, it looks like my extension isn't there again. Or at the very least, I'm not getting the right corner pop up, which is annoying. So that's not great. Let's go to the right. Okay. It did it again. Crap. There it is. Interesting. Combat attack label 198. Combat attack label 198. Interesting. It seems like my current... So what was happening there is I was trying to type stomp, I believe, and as I was hitting the S key, it was erroring out. Unfortunately, it did not log what the name was, so I couldn't really test that. If I was faster, I would have been able to pause it in a good place. Okay. I'm going to put a to-do in there and make sure that I figure out what this is. To-do. This can throw... Wow, I can't spell throw. Throw an index of range exception when multiple attacks... Well, hold on. When attack section is set to multiple question mark. I don't really know why that would be the case. When we call start attack, it should basically reset all of that. So when we call start attack here, we should set current index equal to 0. Interesting, though. It must be caching the wrong input, maybe? I don't know. That's very odd. Okay. I'm going to refresh the my Twitch page real quick. I want to see if the extension shows up. Does not. Interesting. Okay. Is it just not on? No, it's totally on. Weird. For some reason, I'm not getting the one extension that I do have enabled, which is the Streamlabs one. It just doesn't seem to be working, which is not great. Not sure why that's the case. Well, okay then. I guess I will... Maybe it's because this tab isn't open. Do I really have to have like just a separate tab completely? Nope, it's just not working. All right, well, I guess for now, I'm going to go ahead. There it is. Okay, now it decided to do it. Weird. For now, I'm going to go ahead and say post the Discord. And if people are interested, feel free to join the Discord. And if you have any ideas for a Twitch extension that you think would be useful as far as making the streams more interesting, I would love to hear it. I am still pretty new to the Twitch extension scene. I haven't really dug around in them too much. So it'll be fun to try and get that stuff working. Long-term goal is, of course, to get my little avatar guy being a little bit more interactive, so that you guys can like send him commands or play little mini games with him. I don't necessarily know what that would be, but I think it would be cool to do so. But for now, I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night, especially because I'm getting pinged by work and I need to respond. So, yeah. So again, quick refresher on announcements. Next week, just be aware that I'm not going to be streaming Thursday or Saturday because I'm going to be up in, I was going to say Ohio, up in Rosemont, so around Chicago for Anime Central. So, all right. I think that's a good place to stop for the night. So, as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.